Welcome to The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols, joined by, welcome in our senior writer, Jackie MacMullan. We have not seen you in a while. I'm glad we stole you from all those other shows you've been on. And our 2008 NBA champion, Kendrick Perkins. Coming up, guys, ESPN.com just put out their all-time starting five for the Celtics. We're going to ask our panel who, know a little something about the Celtics. We're going to ask if they agree with it. But first, Horace Grant is a four-time NBA champion, 3 of those rings coming with Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the early 90s. But yesterday, Grant went on ESPN 1000 radio in Chicago and ripped both Jordan and The Last Dance as a whole. Take a listen.
As I stated to everybody, that is a downright, outright, completely lie. Lie. And as I stated, if MJ had a grudge with me, let's settle it like, man, let's talk about it, or we can settle it another way. It's only a grudge, man. I'm telling you, it was only a grudge. And I think he proved that during this so-called documentary when if you don't say something, if you say something about him, he's going to cut you off. He's going to try to destroy your character. My point is that he said I was a snitch, but yet and still after 30 or 35 years, he brings up his rookie year going into former teammates' room and seeing coke and weed and women. My point is, why in the hell did he want to bring that up? What's that got to do with anything? I mean, if you want to call somebody a snitch, that's a damn snitch right there.
A snitch, people. All right, well, this morning on Golic and Wingo, former Bull Stacey King, who was a part of all 3 titles for the Bulls' first three-peat team, expressed his displeasure with some aspects of The Last Dance as well. Quote, "My biggest disappointment is the way that Jerry Krause was portrayed. I was really hurt by that, and I think a lot of the teammates were. I think he gets a really bad rap about the team breaking up. I think everybody has to take blame in that. Michael has to take some blame. Phil has to take some blame." Well, Perk, you heard Grant with some very choice words for Jordan. King sharing his feelings. Is it fair for some former players to be upset with how they were portrayed in The Last Dance?
Yes, absolutely, Rachel. When you look at The Last Dance, the whole documentary, it made Michael Jordan look like a superhero, and it made everybody else look like a villain. Michael Jordan broke every player code imaginable. And I'm not about to go on national TV and explain to you guys what the player's code is, because then I'll be breaking the player code. But when you look at it, but when you look at it and some of the things he was saying on the plane with Scott Burrell, saying that he was in the club every night, talking about what Horace Grant said about, guys doing drugs, everyone except him. And then, The Last Dance hurt Scottie Pippen. Like, people today are looking at Scottie Pippen like a selfish individual, and Rachel and Jackie, you know that Scottie Pippen, and I know that he's a great guy. We work with Scottie. But now in everybody's eyes in today's world, they're looking at Scottie as a selfish guy because he wanted the money that he deserved. So at the end of the day, The Last Dance was to praise Mike, which it should have been, but you didn't have to tear down other people to praise your greatness, because your greatness alone speaks volumes for itself.
Well, I think you make a good point, Perk. I will say this. I think, and I've talked to a bunch of these guys that were part of The Last Dance, part of this documentary, and when they heard The Last Dance, they were thinking, oh, well, it's about our team. Well, no, it's about one of the most compelling athletes who ever lived. It's mostly about Michael. So I think some of them felt duped right from the get-go. And here's the other thing that Perk, very well. Everybody's truths are different. And Rachel, you know this from covering the league all these years. We could put 5 NBA players in a room and ask them to recount something that happened 20 years ago, and we'd get 5 different stories. That's just how it works. Everybody remembers it a certain way relative to themselves oftentimes. And I think that's some of what we're seeing here. As for Horace being the source of the Jordan rules, look, that book was so thorough. There was more than one source. It was more than Horace.
I keep saying that, Jackie.
We all
I
know
agree.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, look, go ahead, Perk.
But Jackie, just a quick point. It's certain things as a player that you know, you supposed to take to your grave with you. I don't care if it was 50 years down the line. It's certain things that you're supposed to take to your grave, and certain things supposed to be never said or even spoke up on that happened in the locker room. That's just my opinion from what I learned.
It's your opinion that traveling cocaine circus, Perk, should not be said on national television? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, Rachel, I mean, you know, that's their personal life. Like a lot of guys just, you know, when you go to an arena or you go to the practice facility, the sports to a lot of athletes, that's your sanctuary. You're able to go in and talk about different personal problems, and that's not supposed to go nowhere. You're supposed to be able to feel comfortable with doing things around your teammates and your brothers without confidential information being leaked. That's just the way the rules are.
Well, to me, there's two things going on here, right? The first is the expression, history is written by the victors. Michael Jordan was the ultimate victor, so he is the one writing this history. And other people in those kinds of situations often feel that the guy who's writing the story didn't get it exactly right or didn't represent them fairly. This is what happens. I will say also that we are seeing playing out a little bit of a microcosm of the Michael Jordan paradox, right? When we see Michael yelling at his teammates on the screen and talking about what it takes to win and how tough you got to be and you got to hold everyone to a high standard and all of that, it sounds good. It would be good on a poster. Everybody loved it on Monday morning after it aired on Sunday night. But the actual experience of it is not always fair, first of all, and it certainly isn't always fun. And I think watching people live that out answers a little bit of the question, too, of what was it really like to be Michael Jordan's teammate? The glory is wonderful, but they paid a price as well, and that's something that I think is going on a little bit in the public discourse this week and in the future, because ABC announced they're going to run this series all over again, so we'll have more Last Dance in our lives. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.